First thing I want to point out, I'll put the video on the screen, but we have a lovely fence now at the Park Hotel.
There's a difference between immigration and invasion.
Yeah.
Thousands of homeless, army, navy, everybody on the streets. That is where they should settle out and sort it.
If those people who are coming on the dinghies, if there really were doctors and engineers and all sorts of things that are trying to pretend that the press is trying to tell you they are, then they could actually easily get illegal.
So we are in Diss today, once again, like last week. We're interviewing locals today. And first thing I want to point out, I'll put the video on the screen, but we have a lovely fence now at the Park Hotel, which I'm sure is because of us. They are still building it. The workmen are there. It looks like it's going to cut across the entire entrance for the cars, I assume. So that's still not going to stop people from filming, because we can still, you know, if there's a gate, you can really see. And there's also another entrance.
Well, technically, that fence right now is on private property, so by filming that, according to her anyway, we're currently in violation of the law that doesn't exist.
Yes, we are currently breaking the law by recording part of a hotel when we're on public property.
I think everyone we've spoken to either walked past it and are not interested, or they are against it. I haven't seen anyone who are for the migrant being here.
And we've also noticed that a lot of women seem to be speaking, or happy to speak to us about being against the migrants. The men that we've asked, other than a couple, which obviously will be played on this video, they just say, oh, sorry, no, and then walk off. But all of the women seem to want to talk. So this was a week ago on the Diss community page. Someone put out a post. It seems they finally arrived in Diss. Yes, the asylum seekers have taken over the Park Hotel. I'm sure they'll just love the 19 eloquently furbished bedrooms set amongst the grounds with crisp, fresh bed linen, flat screen television with preview, free Wi-Fi, hospitality tray, hair dryers and ironing facilities, and ensuite bathrooms. And someone commented, I just had my booking to the Park Hotel cancelled to house the asylum seekers, and in brackets they put economic migrants. This country has gone mad. A 4-star hotel to house illegal young men. Furious.
Well, all I was going to say is we've spoken to a few people who've mentioned that this is quite a nice hotel. Really nice food. A lot of people come here for the food and stuff like that. And a really nice venue overall. So a lot of people are quite angry that this is the hotel they've decided to house more illegal in. And there was someone else who spoke to who said, yep, they've seen a lot more migrants come here in the past couple of months. So we don't think it's just this hotel. I think it's quite a few of them that've been taken over.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that even though some locals did not want to speak to us today, didn't want to be on camera, judging by the comments on all of our platforms from the first episode, also judging by the comments on Diss community pages on Facebook, a lot of people saying the locals do not want the migrants here. They are not happy. Maybe barring a couple few, which on Thursday, October 28th, there's going to be a protest at the Park Hotel. And apparently there's a counter protest already planned at 12 o'clock that day. Other than a couple of few, the locals of Diss do not seem to be happy about it. I just want to say that I hope you have seen yourself and I hope you have checked your behaviour. We don't know what she is to the hotel. We can't see her as a worker for the hotel. We can't see her working for Cromwood Housing Group. She said she didn't work for the Home Office. We don't know where she works. We don't know what she is.
But I mean, the thing is, she could use this hotel, which is the Park Hotel in Diss, for the Brook Hotel,
and Bothwell,
which, funny enough, are both owned by Home Office and are housing, again, the male migrants.
Those are only police at the Park Hotel.
Right? She also confused Diss for Norwich, even though they're nowhere near each other. Yeah? And there's more migrant hotels in Norwich. So, we have a feeling she is working for the Home Office and she is overseeing the management of migrants in the area. Now, something interesting someone else brought up is, how are these migrants meant to integrate into society?
when they can't speak to us. When they can't have their thing.
She said she's working with the local community. The thing is, right, the local community has so many questions, and yet none of them are being answered. We come here with a camera, and you're instantly outside, oh, no, you're not allowed to film. What's with the secrecy? What are you hiding? Right? The migrants are informed with the Home Office that they're not allowed to talk to us either. Right? What the hell are these migrants meant to integrate into society if they're not allowed to speak to anyone? They can't. That's it. They can't. Right? So that's another point, and we'll cover that more in the research, right? So obviously you just came up to us and spoke to us, feel passionate about this. What are your thoughts on the migrant hotel with no public consultation?
No, I was reading the internet the other day and I see it popped up on the internet that they were going to put migrants into. Well, I think that it should go to our own people. I'm not racist or anything like that, but I think personally they should give it to the homeless. If they can do this for migrants, they can do it for the homeless. We've got thousands and thousands of homeless, army, navy, everybody on the streets. That is where they should settle out and sort it.
Yeah, well, there was a man down there we spoke to earlier who runs a homeless veterans charity.
He does, yes.
Yeah, and there's obviously a big problem with homeless veterans who are battling PTSD and all sorts, and they're never given any accommodation. They're just left to rot after serving their country.
Well, you go around any street today, and I don't know whether it happens in Diss, but I know at Stowmarket, it does in Stowmarket. Norwich is a big place as well.
Yeah.
A lot of these big town centres, Cambridge, there's loads of homeless veterans all over the place. Now, I can't understand why we're not helping our homeless veterans. I mean, they went off, they fight for us, this country, to make it safe, and then they're out in the streets.
Yeah.
Why cannot these people get help?
Yeah. So you're from Stowmarket. I'm guessing that the immigration problem is everywhere at the moment. You've got hundreds of mainly male, no families, unvetted migrants coming over in dinghies who are illegal immigrants, come from countries like Albania who aren't at war, so they are breaking the law. They are criminals by default. Do you reckon they should be deported instantly and sent back home?
I think they should go home, yeah. I don't think they even should be allowed to cross the channel. I believe, I'm not saying this is true, but what I've read and I've heard, this country gives France loads of money to keep the migrants from leaving, but they're still coming over.
Yeah.
So it comes to time, how much money are we going to give France to stop the migrants?
Yeah.
Or do we sort it another way?
Yeah. And another big issue of this as well is the cost of living crisis, which we're all struggling with right now. We all can't afford to heat our homes, we can't afford to pay our rent. There's no help available to small businesses, which are closing down left, right and centre. I mean, you can walk down here and tons of them are closing. But they somehow have, £3.97 billion last year to house male migrants in 5-star hotels.
Well, this is another thing. I mean, the NHS is screaming out for money. The problem now, it's been spent on other things, whereas before, when they were going to get in government before, they promised to spend all this money on the NHS and it never got spent.
Yeah.
I want to know why they got so much money to spend on these migrants than they are our own people.
Well, an interesting point that we kind of looked into the other day was, you know what a bounce back loan is?
No, I don't actually.
So during they were given money to businesses to help them throughout because a lot of them had to close down, but they start to pay their staff furlough and stuff like that, right? Now, unfortunately, as a result of the cost of living crisis, which is again caused by a lot of these businesses can't afford to pay back the loan, and so are being forced to close down. All of these hotels, funny enough, took these bounce back loans and so can't afford to stay open. So now the Home Office is looking at these and is offering them an opportunity. Instead of closing down because they can't afford to stay open, they are giving them all the money they need throughout the entire year for years to come so that they can house these migrants. This is all a direct cause of Do you reckon that was the plan all along?
I reckon there's something going dodgy. I mean, I wouldn't like to say what with the government, but I'll be honest, I voted Conservative all my life. I cannot say that I'm to blame, but now I've seen the light, I can tell you now I'm changing my mind as it goes along. Yeah. I definitely won't be voting Conservative ever again. Yeah. I don't like half the stuff they're doing, and I really don't understand this business with the Park Hotel. I can remember the Park Hotel when it was a thriving business, and I'm going back a couple of years. I still can't see why they should be allowing migrants to go into this hotel when we've got so many people sleeping rough on the. If they can do it for them, they can do it for our own people. Yeah. And you mentioned.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
So South Norfolk Council rejected a scheme in March or April. Which one was it? I think it was March. That it would have housed veterans in 9 homes in.
Just homeless people.
Yeah. Veteran homeless in 9 houses in Diss, but they rejected it. How do you feel about that?
I think it's disgusting. I think the veterans need it most. I'm sorry, like I said, I'm not racist, but I still think that our own people in this country should come first before everybody else. I should know, I'm a pensioner. I'm not finding it hard, but I have to now budget for everything I do. Yeah. And when I ask for help, I don't get none. But I'm sure if I came across on a rubber dinghy, I would get help all the time. That's all I've got to say, really.
Well, there's one more thing then as well. You mentioned voting Conservative all your life. I think a lot of people were like that. The main reason that Conservatives remained in power, the main reason there was an extremely high turnout for Brexit, was because people were fed up with immigration, and nothing has been done, even by Rishi Sunak and Suella Braverman. So, do you feel politically homeless, or is there another party you see that might actually do something?
I haven't really chosen a party yet. I'm still keeping myself open-minded. But I think that we've been betrayed by the Conservative Party. I voted Brexit. I thought it will get rid of all the people coming into the country. It hasn't done. We seem to get more and more every day. Just ask Nigel Farage. Great bloke, should have been a leader.
Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate it.
Hiya.
Excuse me, we're interviewing locals on the Park Hotel, which has been turned into a migrant hotel with no public consultation. We're just asking locals what they think about it.
Gosh, I don't suppose anybody would be that pleased.
As we were talking about earlier as well, there's a migrant hotel just down there, the Park Hotel, and it's been taken over by Islamic migrants. Now, being a legal refugee yourself, you came here legally, or a legal migrant, sorry. Do you want to tell us how illegal immigration negatively affects people who come here legally?
I always support that you should follow the law, and there is some people is just coming here for economic circumstances, and they are not saying the truth, and because of that, the nice and right people really pass through some bad things. Unfortunately, these people is being they have prejudice, so they don't deserve.
Yeah.
What are you YouTubing about today?
We're interviewing locals about the Park Hotel, which has been turned into a migrant hotel. Would you like to come on camera?
No, I wouldn't.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's damn right.
Yeah.
That's soldiers, man. No,
Oh, too right. Well, thanks anyway. Fine.
Angry though.
Excuse me. Hi, we're interviewing locals on the Park Hotel, which is being turned into a migrant hotel with no public consultation. I was just wondering if you had any kind of thoughts or opinions on it.
Except I wouldn't agree with it.
Well, it's okay. I mean, we disagree with it ourselves. I think every local we've spoken to is kind of against it.
I don't live in Diss, I live nearer to Halston. I've got no objections to immigrants of any description. When they put them all in and they're young men, I don't think that's right, because, you've got young girls and that, but I'm not suggesting you get any bother about, I mean, you do get bother in this town already sometimes with antisocial behaviour. It's just my opinion.
Right. Well, thank you so much for talking to us anyway. Cheers. Hi, we're interviewing locals on what they think about the Park Hotel in the migrant centre.
Sorry?
We're interviewing locals about the Park Hotel up there.
Right.
It's basically become a migrant hotel, and
Someone told me, yes.
yeah, there's been no public consultation. We're just wondering if locals would be willing to give us their thoughts on camera. We could do it.
Well, I'm not local.
Right,
I'm just my mother-in-law is local, so
Yeah.
I'm spending half my time here looking after her, and
Right.
so I can't sort of really speak to it because I'm not a local.
Yeah.
But in general,
You're not happy?
I'm not happy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because it's, I live in Leicester, and it's absolutely terrible. I'm glad if you hear anyone speaking English when you're around.
Exactly.
And the thing is, I'm not English myself, I'm Swedish. But there's a difference between immigration and invasion.
Completely agree.
Plus also, if those people who are coming on the dinghies, if there really were doctors and engineers and all sorts of things that are trying to pretend that the press is trying to tell you they are, then they could actually easily get here legally. There's no need for them to come in a dinghy. And I'm Swedish, and I can say that I think an awful lot of the people who come in the dinghies are Albanian. Well, in Sweden has now got the second highest gun crime in Europe after Croatia, and this is caused by fighting Albanian drug gangs out on the streets.
Which is something we've got massively in England and London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I used to live in London years ago.
Right.
I used to like it there, but I wouldn't want to live there now.
It's not the same place it used to be.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, even where I live in Leicester, because I live in an area of Leicester which actually used to be quite nice, but even that's going downhill now. And there's an awful lot. The road we live in used to be houses where people lived themselves. Now there's just masses of buy-to-lets. and lots of the family houses have been turned into flats.
Right.
So just people coming and going all the time, and because it's not their house, they don't take any care of it. They don't really care. It's really going downhill as well.
Right.
And I can actually say I've been looking after my mother-in-law here since March, and we've been going because I spend half the time here with her, half the time she's with us. And I can actually see the amount of non-English people has increased here just since March.
Really? So it's not. So you reckon it's not just that hotel? There could be
I
others?
don't know, but I've noticed this time when I came back after the summer holiday, after spending the summer holiday with my children, I noticed a marked difference.
Right. Okay.
It's easy to come here as a legal immigrant. If you like it or not, that's a different matter.
Yeah.
But it is easy. So there is no reason, unless you dodge or have something criminal, to come here illegally.
Yeah.
There isn't.
Yeah.
So, as a whole, it's not just here. As I said, it's the same. Sweden had been the same like it was when I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I would have been back there as a shop by now with my family.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
but that's changed beyond recognition as well.
Well, Poland's the only place that seems to be going strong. No terrorist attacks, no increase in violence. That's because they haven't taken in any illegals.
Yeah, but the EU's trying to force them now, aren't they? They're having this.
A bit different in their ethno-nationalism. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking anyway. Hiya. Excuse me, we're interviewing locals on the Park Hotel, which has been turned into a migrant hotel with no public consultation. We're just asking locals what they think about it.
God, I don't suppose anybody would be that pleased.
Is there anything you'd be willing to come see?
No, thank you.
No worries. Excuse me. Hi, we're doing interviews on what people think about the Park Hotel being turned into a migrant hotel with no public consultation and.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, so there's a 4-5-star hotel just down there called the Park Hotel, and the public hasn't been informed, but they've turned it into a migrant hotel.
Have they?
Where
Yeah.
asylum seekers will go in.
Yeah.
They got moved in on the 6th.
The thing is, a lot of them are middle-aged, fighting-age men who aren't fleeing conflict, which makes them not a refugee, makes them an illegal immigrant because they arrive here illegally. And you've got homeless people on the streets, homeless veterans. You've got the council actually refusing to house homeless people here in the.
Back in March, there was a scheme that was proposed by Solo Housing, and they actually rejected the scheme. South Norfolk Council.
So I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on it.
I'll have to think about that one.
Yeah.
Whoa. No, I honestly have not heard it at all.
Yeah.
That's mad. See,
Nothing at all.
this is the thing. You would think if you live in this area.
Yeah, I live in a village just not far away.
So you'd think the council would make you aware, don't you?
Yeah.
That they've
They're
had.
riding roughshod, are they?
Yeah. And you've got a park near there as well. Now, obviously, not to go into the racism of it.
No. I know what you're saying.
But there are.
I bring my grandson there.
Wherever there's a migrant hotel, the sexual assaults, sexual harassment rates increase. You know, it's really worrying, isn't it?
Beaufort, for example, the Brook Hotel that's being used as migrants.
No, I didn't know that at all. I'm dumbfounded.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. No, I can't say I'm happy about it on first thought. No.
Yeah.
Can we ask why?
Why? Because the area. I mean, what are they going to do? The people moving in there. What are they going to do? Where are they going to go to work?
They can't. They're not allowed to work.
Because they're here illegally, they can't work.
Of course they can't.
Yeah.
Of course they can't.